let's take a look at the data. Now, the task is very simple. This data, so they've specified that they want us to just basically compute some analysis. Okay. They want to see the sales performance by products category, product name. They also want to see the sales performance by the gender, by the state and country. So they want us to just basically give us the sales performance. So we've been generating data, just give us the sales performance by the customers. So let's know the top 10 customers. Let's see the sales performance by the gender. Let's see how we are performing in each state as well. So how much each state is generating, how much each country is generating. Okay, so I think you might want to um do what's it called? Open a Word document for that. Or let me just open a new sheet on Excel here. Okay, and write out the questions. So what this company want to see is very simple. So they want to see so you are evaluating sales performance. For this data, we're just evaluating sales performance. Okay. And what they want is very simple. So they want to see uh sales performance by different variables. Okay, or by different categories. Okay. E.g., now, for example, let's see the sales performance by products. Products category, a sales performance by product name, sales performance by states, the sales performance by country, sales performance, sales performance by gender, sales performance by customer as well. Okay, so this is what they require from us that they want to see. Okay, and time permits as well. We can even look at the dashboard. Okay, so I think that would be nice because this data is what I'm going to use to take you um pivot tables. Okay, so we're going to introduce pivot tables using this data set. All right, that is the analysis part. You see, I have data cleaning and analysis practice. So that is the analysis part. We'll use the data to introduce pivot tables and pivot charts. Okay. Then let's say they also require dashboard. So like I said, I will include a bonus in Excel by showing you dashboard as well. Okay. Just one of the many bonuses. I think I showed you data validation some classes ago as well. Now we want to see from this data, you have been given the data, okay, and they ask you to analyze, okay, sales performance to generate a report, dashboard, showing us what we need to know, okay, based on this. You might not need to show everything. You can show maybe the top 10 customers generating the highest sales, or the top 10 states, or the top 10 products, things like that, okay. So we've been given the data. We have two sheets on our data. So we are the data analyst here, and let's see how we we go about it. Okay, let's see how we go about it. Now, the first thing you do when you are given data to analyze is this. You need to first check your data, okay, to see if what you are given, the data you are given, can it meet the requirements? Okay. Then you also need to check your data quality. All right. Now, remember the process. There are 6 phases of data analytics, isn't it? Ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. Now, the ask stage is where you ask questions. So they just give you data. Just help us analyze this data. We want to make meaning. Okay, so what do you want to understand from the data? Okay, we're asking question and then they tell us this. Okay, so how do you want it to be reported? Okay, well, we can create a dashboard of it. Okay, so we've asked questions, we've understood some basic minor things that they want us to know. Okay, now the prepare stage is where you gather data. Okay, in this case, we've been given the data, so we don't need to source for other data. Okay, now the process stage where you need to make sure that your data, this data that you collected, that you have been given, you need a good quality. Okay. The data quality should be top notch. All right. So let's say they might even ask, oh, let's see the sales performance by date as well. Sales performance by months slash years. Okay. So the trend over the months, over the years. All right. Now we check to see that, oh, I can get the sales performance by product category, product name, because I have product category and product name on the product sheet. Okay, this is product name column. This is category column, product category. But I don't have the sales column. On the sales sheet, I don't have a column for sales. But immediately I see that I have a column for quantity. So follow my thought process. Okay, thought process matters. Now, immediately I see I have a column for quantity, the quantity of goods that was bought. Now, in order to generate, this was a question I was asked in a technical interview recently. Okay. And is similar to what I want to ask you. So, you have a column for quantity that was bought in a particular purchase. So, how can you calculate the sales generated from that purchase? The question they asked me is very similar, but more like an opposite. Beautiful. Okay. So the question is you have a column for quantity. All right. You have a column for quantity of goods that was purchased for each order or for each sale record. Okay. So how do I calculate the revenue or the sales that was generated? So you multiply the quantity by the price of the product. Now, on the product sheet, I have all the products that these people offer. Okay, all the products they ever offer. I have all the products here. Okay, but on the sales sheet is where I have each sales record. So another thing comes to my mind that I have the product ID on this sheet, but I don't have the product name, product category, the unit price, and the unit cost. I would need it on this sheet based on what we know so far. Okay, advanced analysts might not need to consolidate this data before they can work with it. Okay, you see that in Power BI, don't worry, because you are also going to become advanced analyst. Now, they won't need to consolidate data, but for what we know so far, okay, we would need to make sure that, oh, the product name, product category, the price, and cost from this sheet. Now we bring them into this sheet. And the technique we're going to use is what? Do you see? Ah, oh my God. People are following. People are following. People are following. Beautiful. We're going to use the VLOOKUP. We're going to use the VLOOKUP. Okay. So we'll use the VLOOKUP using the product ID as our lookup value to grab these details, the product name, the category, unit price, unit cost into this table. Okay. So from there, I will now be able to multiply the quantity by the unit price when I have the column in order to get the sales for each record. Good. So we've cleared that out of the way. Now, if I explore other columns, I see in some columns, for instance, address, I have the city, the state, and the country. But these people required sales performance by state, sales performance by country. So I need to have them on different columns, isn't it? So what am I going to need to do on this data in order to be able to achieve that? Very good. I'll split the column, okay? So that when I split text to column, I have different, I have the city in one column, I have the state in one column, and I have the country in one column. That way I'll be able to analyze the data by country or by state, should I choose to. Okay. They also ask for performance by gender. Nice. But looking at my gender, it seems like there's something wrong. I'm having man and FE. Is that the gender that is there? Okay. In my email, they want to see sales performance by customers, but the customer name is trapped in the email. I need to extract it out. I can use my flash fill for that. So you can see where all of those techniques that we taught you is coming out from. Is going to come into play now. Okay. So what we now do is this. All right. To make it easier and to make the approach understandable, we say go through each one of the columns, identify the data issue, and then resolve. Go through each one of the columns, identify the data issue, and then resolve. So let's start. Now, how do you go through each one of the columns? How do you go through each one of the columns? Currently, you have the filter column, the filter icon on your data. Okay, you have the filter icon there already. If you don't have it there, you know how to activate it. Control Shift L, L for lion. Okay, so I'm going to click on this filter icon, and inside this filter icon, I get all the values that appear in my data. Whether it is duplicated or not, it will just give me an occurrence of that value. So if I scroll down, you see what I have? I have blanks at the bottom. It tells me that there are blank cells in this data. Okay, there are blank cells in this data. So I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to deselect this. I want to see where I have those blank cells. Okay, so I'll scroll back down and I'll select only the blanks. Select this. Now click OK. Now, when I do this, I see automatically that there are some cells that are blank because you would see from the number, it will be colored blue. Now, these cells that are blank in the other ID column, normally you might think that they will contain data on other columns, but I can see that it is entirely blank. So what this tells me is that there are blank rows. So if I scroll down, I see that I have blank cells up until this place. Do you see that? Okay, so I would need to delete all these blank rows. All right. So since there is no column that has just blank, what I'm just going to do is very simple. I'll highlight from this row, highlight it down like this. The last blank here. Okay. I should go back. Now we'll check the filter. Charles, I hope you're following now. Check the filter, and we see that in the order ID, when we scroll down here, we have some blank cells. So we want to see which cells are blank in that column. I'm going to scroll back up. I will deselect this, meaning don't show all this data. I'll scroll down and select only where I have blanks. Okay. If you have a very large data, same approach. Once you do this, okay, you will see the blanks. All right, and you click OK. So once you click OK, we are going to be able to delete all these blank rows. Why? Because we see that we don't have data elsewhere. But assuming we have data elsewhere on the columns, it's just that the order ID is blank, then there might be a different approach you need to take, because you might not just want to delete any record. But here, it's just blank row. So we see that where this place is blank, it is blank on other columns as well. So I'm going to highlight the range that is blank, like this. Then I will come up to where I have, after highlighting, I'll come up to where I have delete. Okay. And then I'll click on the drop down. And then I'll click on delete sheet rows. Delete sheet rows. So once I do that, automatically, boom, you can see that this data shifts up. Now, if I check my filter again, let's scroll down. You see that it tells me there are no more blanks. I don't have blanks there again. So all those blanks are gone. So my order ID is good to go. I'll clear filter from order ID. Okay, so I'm good to go on the first column. Now, on the second column, what is the data quality issue in this column? Okay, so we need to be thinking as analysts. I think I will be leaving some tasks to us so that we can be following along very well. So what is the data quality issue in this column? Very beautiful. Very beautiful. The date format is wrong. That is a data quality issue. Okay, so it reduces the quality of my data, because with this format, I cannot analyze to get the sales by month or by years. So I need to get it in the actual format, which is a date column. Okay, so I'm going to get it in the actual format. So I need to convert this date column to date data type. So highlight the entire column like this. And how do we change it? You come to general, where you have this format, this number ribbon. Come here and change the format to short date. Short date. So now I have the dates in that column. So I think I've already explained how Excel calculates its dates. So it allows us to know that whatever date that it returns for the numbers there is actually correct, not that it is just returning random dates. Okay, so the date is good on the date format. Now I will click on this drop down filter to see the dates. Now, this is another thing you should take note of. Okay, this is another thing that you should take note of. What is that? You will see that whenever you have a column formatted as dates. These are some tiny tips and tricks. Okay, tiny tips and tricks that I'm showing you. All right, when you format a column as date data type, what you should do is this. Check the filter icon, and the first things that you should have are the years. Everything should be grouped into a particular year. All your dates should be grouped into a particular year. So if you click any plus icon for any year, it will now show you the months you have in that year in this data. Then if you click a particular month, the plus icon, it will show you the days in that month for that year. Now, you might find yourself in a situation where you have, after converting to date data type, you now have something like this. Let me do a small change here. For instance, here now, this data type is month, day, year. If I convert it to day, month, year, 29/4/2021, and I press enter. Now you can see that this date formats to the right, to the left rather, okay? Do you see that? All right. Now, somebody might have even played around with it and formatted it to the right. And you would think, oh, this thing is correct. Everything here is correct. If you look at it now, you might be looking like there's no issue with this date column. Okay. But I want you to see something. When you come to the filter icon, you will see automatically that every date is formatted into a particular year. But this date is not formatted into 2021. It does not group it with 2021. So this tells you that Excel does not recognize this record as a date. So what you will need to do is, deselect this, click OK. Then you will now need to convert this. That, this is wrong. Okay, you had month, day, year, should be day, month, year. So I will convert this back instead. Okay, so I'm just going to use my undo. I'll just use my undo. Undo. Good. And I'll change it back to date format. Okay, so that it goes back to the normal thing. All right, so for this, if you check it, make sure that it groups everything into a particular year. So it's just a simple trick. Okay, so that when you see something like that, you know that Excel is not able to read some certain dates as dates actually. Okay, if you click that cell at that point in time, okay, and you check the data type, you will see that it will not put dates. If I type 29/4/2021 and I press enter and I click that cell, okay, it says date, but we know that it is wrong because if I click here, it is separating it. Okay, it does not see it as a date. It doesn't. Okay, because okay, for this one now, let's say I want to convert this date to number. It still remains as a date. But if I come to a different date that is actually dates and I say convert to number, this date converts to number. But this one does not convert to number because Excel does not understand it as a date in the first place. So it needs to follow the proper format so that it can easily categorize it with the other years. So let me undo this. Good. So we're back here now. Okay. So moving on. Now my date column is fine and I'm good to go. So we move on.
Endeavor to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you. See you in our next class. Bye.